Bob Harig, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm just fine, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it is my pleasure. First off, what a fantastic book. Oh my God, yeah, there we go. Drive. Um, I
It's a hell of a cover, I'll say.
it is,
Yeah,
and um, I have to put it in context. Um, I'm a big baseball fan. Have been following golf like millions of others since Tiger,
yeah.
broke out onto the scene. And I've read a bunch of sports books. And what I love about what you've done with this one, Bob, is that um, I could feel the emotion. I could feel the pain that Tiger went through during his uh, various injuries and surgeries and just the pain of walking out. And I was thinking, I never got that through television. I never, you can see it on the face, but then I'm thinking, I could walk, I could hit a golf ball, not as well,
Yeah.
but you've done an amazing job of, bringing that emotion to the reader through your pages. So congrats and thank you for writing this book,
Oh,
first
I
of all.
appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. It was I've sort of lived it myself. I've been there for every step of this, as close as you can get in these situations. And the ups and downs, really the last 10 years,
Yeah.
Tiger have been a lot of, there's been 40 major championships played in the last 10 years, and Tiger's missed 18 of them. When you consider that
Wow. Yeah.
he's missed almost half.
Hmm.
It's really, it just kind of shows you, what he's been through.
Yeah.
And whether it was the back, whether it was from the car crash, he's missed a lot of opportunities. And yet during the midst of all that, he managed to battle through and win one of them. And
Crazy.
really most people didn't see that coming.
You would not have thought, definitely not have thought. And I like the way you've written it. And someone can just pick up the book and start at any chapter and just get sort of that particular story or that particular view of Tiger Woods, which is fantastic. Whether it's the first day of his first Masters, or whether it's a story about his streak.
Yeah.
You can sort of pick up anywhere and read it. You don't need to, it's not like chronological in a sense.
No, I mean, I tried to, as I was doing this book, the original intent was to focus very hard on the 2019 Masters.
Yeah.
And there is a lot on that,
Hmm.
the spinal fusion surgery, the doctor who performed it, the trainer who helped him find that doctor, the comeback year of 2018, winning the Masters. But in doing this, I also came to realize that, this has really kind of marked Tiger's career.
Yeah.
Drive, the word drive, the resiliency, willpower,
Yeah.
he's there's just numerous examples of that. The cut streak that you mentioned,
Yeah.
the very first Masters that he won, he shot 40 for the first nine holes.
Yeah.
So, I called that chapter the 40. He shot 40. I mean, that would destroy some people. You
Oh,
got
for
all this
sure.
fight, you got all this hype, and you go out and you four over par after nine holes, and you think it's ruined. And how do you regroup? And what did he do? He came back and he ended up winning the tournament by 12. You know,
Destroyed them all. My
yeah.
goodness.
So and the 2008 U.S. Open, he had two stress fractures in his leg and a blown out knee, and 2 weeks later he had full ACL replacement. Yet he won the U.S. Open on that leg,
On one
and
leg.
so he had been told not to play. His doctor told him he needed to be on crutches for 6 weeks, and so I think he has a gear that most of us don't have. I think in life we can rationalize things.
Yeah.
Like I try to get on a workout program and be diligent about it, right? Okay, so let's say for 4 straight days I'm really good.
Yeah.
And then on day five I wake up and I sit there and I go, I've been pretty good this week. I'm gonna skip today. Well, Tiger never did that. He didn't skip. He um he didn't cut corners.
No,
and he didn't take no for answers either. He was resilient in that way, and I think I think as much as the skill and the talent are huge parts of his success, obviously,
of course.
incredibly, incredibly talented player. But, instead of winning 82 times, maybe he would have only won 50. There was more to it than just the ability.
So let me touch on that. Um, when Tiger first started, all the talk was about his skill, and his feel for the club in his hand, and where he was able to place the ball. Um, Reading this, and even reading your previous book, Tiger and Phil,
Mhm.
I got the sense of it was like a lot of it was up here. Um,
Yeah.
when did you know, or when did he turn it on, or was it always part skill, mostly will and just mental drive?
Well, I definitely think the mental part of it's been there all along.
Yeah,
Because he was incredibly successful before he even turned pro, and he did some things that really I didn't get into a lot in the book, but you could have. He won three straight U.S. amateurs. There was great examples then too. He was a lot of times behind, in
okay.
those amateur tournaments. That was match play. He got three or four holes behind. It'd be easy to give up and get down on yourself. He never did. To win the amateur three straight times is really another one of his remarkable achievements.
Hmm.
Because in match play, it's just one day, and you might not have it. 72 hole stroke play is considered a better gauge of the best player. You can recover from a poor hole, you can recover from a poor day. Um, the weaker player is going to have a harder time sustaining it. But
Yeah.
in one day of match play, a weaker player can have a great day, and if you're a little bit off, he beats you and you're out. And Tiger withstood that for three straight years. In fact, before that, he won three straight U.S. juniors. So he won six straight USGA titles,
Wow.
and then turned pro, and really he turned pro within a day or two of winning his last U.S. amateur, and by that fall he had won twice as a pro already on the PGA
Wow.
Tour. There's a lot of mental fortitude in there. I think that's part of it.
Okay. Yeah. Um, so okay, he won a bunch while he was an amateur. So, he gets out, labeled out, okay, this is a special player that's going to be turning pro. And I'll concede that. When did we know, when did you know that he transcended being that special player, maybe even being a great player, to this is like a once in a lifetime uh moment that we're going to watch this person dominate like no one's ever dominated before? When did you have that sense?
I would sense, I guess, that I think that really hit home in the year 2000. Now, look, when he won that first Masters, he won by 12, and it was iconic, and there was a lot of historical significance to that win.
Yeah.
He didn't win another major for almost 2 years, and he had bouts of ups and downs. I mean, in fact, there was some thought that maybe he wasn't going to be as great as advertised,
Okay.
which is crazy to think of now. But and he won four times in '97, but he only won once in 1998. He actually retooled his swing, and then in '99 he started to win a bunch again, and he won the PGA Championship. But at the year 2000, he wins the U.S. Open by 15. He wins the British Open by 8 at St. Andrews. He does this at iconic places: Pebble Beach, St. Andrews, 15-8. Then he goes to Valhalla, which is where the PGA is returning to next week, actually, PGA Championship, and he's trying for three in a row. Nobody's won three majors in a row since Ben Hogan in 1953. And frankly, that was a lot different time. I
Sure.
mean, he won the Masters and the U.S. Open that year and the British Open, when a lot of Americans didn't go to the British Open. It was still a great feat, but again, Jack Nicklaus never won three in the same year. Arnold Palmer,
Oh,
Lee
wow.
Trevino, like none of these guys. Ben
Yeah.
Hogan. It was the last in 1953. Byron Nelson, Sam Snead, and here's Tiger with a chance to do it a month later and to sustain that level for that long. And he did, and he won it in a playoff. And then to take it even further, now he's got a chance to win four straight majors, but going into 2001.
Yeah.
So he's got to maintain this high level for another 7 or 8 months. And he pulled that off too. Won four straight, the Tiger Slam. I mean, that's just that's another level stuff there.
Wow. You've had more so than many, if not most, if not all, an access to Tiger Woods. You have been there since he started. You've probably sat down and interviewed him more times than you can remember. I'm wondering if you've ever forgotten a conversation
Mm.
that you've had with him. That's how many times I believe you've spoken with him. But Bob, I want to ask you, is there an interaction with him that you remember fondly because it gave you a glimpse into Tiger more than what he let on when he was talking to the press generally, more than what you would see when he was playing a major tournament. I'm wondering if there was ever a moment where you got a glimpse of, well, he's a little bit like this, or
Yeah, I actually talked about this a little bit in the other book, in the Tiger Phil book,
okay,
where in 2013, after he won at Bay Hill, 2013 was a big year. He got back to number one after having fallen off the perch.
hmm,
He won three times in 2012, and then in 2013, around the time that he won at Bay Hill, the Arnold Palmer Invitational, he went back to number one. He had a big year that year. He won five times. And the tournament ended on a Monday because they had weather problems on Sunday. So it ended like around noon, 1 o'clock. And so I was working on my stories, and I got word from somebody, a colleague and I, that he was in the locker room with his caddy, and he said if we were there to come on by. And
okay,
basically what was going on was he was celebrating. He was in there, it was him and his caddy Joe LaCava. There was a couple of friends of his, and they were just kind of hanging out in the locker room. And they were a couple of drinks in. They offered us some. I was still working, so I wasn't going to do that. But I mean,
yeah, yeah,
he had sort of let his hair down a little bit. He
okay,
was. I'd never really seen him in a celebratory mood before. Tiger would win a golf tournament and do all the things that you do afterward, and obviously
yeah,
be happy and everything. And then he would leave. And if there was any celebration, that was done privately or with his friends or his family or what have you. And here he was sort of, I don't know if he was killing time or how it all evolved that way, but he just didn't seem in any hurry. And it was kind of cool to see that.
wow,
And
yeah,
the other neat thing about that is while we were in there,
yeah,
Arnold Palmer himself walked in because it's his club and he had been doing duties. Arnold loved it when Tiger won his tournament. He just
yeah,
loved it. He thought it was great. And he came in and what was kind of funny was, and I outlined it in the book a little bit, but Tiger had a two-shot lead on the 18th hole, and
hmm,
he hit his tee shot in the right rough, and he laid up for his second shot. There's water on the 18th at Bay Hill. There was no need to go for the green. He was playing safe. He was going to hit his
yeah,
third on the green, and he was going to win. And Arnie came in and he went into the bathroom, and he was sort of on the other end of the locker room, and you could hear him yelling at Tiger, and he was playfully and good naturedly calling him you know he was calling him another word for a wimp. Okay, a word I'm not going to use right
sure,
here.
sure,
And Tiger loved it. He was laughing. He he just loved so much that Arnie was giving him grief about laying up. And of course Tiger was not gonna be bothered by this, and he wasn't
yeah,
gonna go for the green, but Arnold was giving him grief about it, and it was kind of a neat moment between legends.
wow, and wow, what a moment. Um, you talked earlier about after his first year we did well. The second year, people were quite wondering, is this going to be the real deal? And he reinvented his swing.
Hmm.
How, talk to my listeners a bit about this specifically around golf, reinventing your approach, reinventing your swing. How difficult is that for golfers? And particularly, we know in hindsight it wasn't. It ended up being an amazing thing for Tiger. It didn't seem that difficult, but how difficult is that for golfers to do?
Yeah, it's not easy at all. I mean, in fact, at the time, people thought he was crazy. I mean, you
Hmm.
just won the Masters by 12 shots and you're going to rework your swing.
Yeah.
But he got with his coach at the time, Butch Harmon. There was a sense that Tiger's swing was too loose. Like he didn't have good distance control with his irons. You know, he might hit a sand wedge 120 yards one time, and the next time he
Yeah.
might hit it 150. And he had to get that stuff dialed in if he wanted to be good under pressure.
Hmm.
And and so he went to work, and typically when you change your swing, you're going to take a couple of steps backward before you go forward, and that's why he had a little bit of a lean year in 2008. But it got in it, excuse me, 1998. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
early in 1999 when it kind of clicked, and he started to rattle off a bunch of wins that year,
Yeah.
and he had an incredible end to that year. Won a bunch of times, and that's when it all came together. And sort of the light went on, and he won 8 major championships with Butch Harmon as his coach between 97 and 2002. And then, you know, for whatever reasons, he decided he wanted to move on from Butch,
Yeah.
and he kind of reinvented his swing again under Hank Haney, and it was different, and people thought it was crazy,
Hmm.
but yet he was very, very good under Haney. Also, he won 6 more majors under him. He won 31 times on tour. The 6 majors and 31 tour wins is a career unto itself.
Yeah.
It's a Hall of Fame career unto itself. And yet before that, he had a Hall of Fame career. So, I
Wow.
mean, that's the amazing thing about Tigers. He's retooled himself a couple of different times.
Yeah. What do you miss most about not seeing him a lot these days?
I just think he brings like this electricity to a tournament that's unmatched.
Yeah.
I mean, just the buzz around whenever he's out. Even now, next week at Valhalla, it'll be, when he's in the practice rounds, he's a rock star. And when he was playing very, very well and
Yeah.
always in contention, there was just this buzz that was hard to beat. Is he going to do it again? Is somebody going to get him? Can he keep it going? Unlike team sports, I think in
Hmm.
golf you like somebody to dominate. Team sports we like parity, because we want
Sure.
our team to
Sure.
always have a chance. But
Yeah.
in golf, it's good to have the New York Yankees. It's good to have a dominant team. It's good to have Scotty Scheffler right now winning so much, or Nelly Korda on the LPGA, because we tune in to see, can they keep it going, or
Yeah.
who is it that's gonna knock them down. And so that was always the way it was with Tiger. We took for granted how much he won. It's crazy to think that a guy was going to win that much. It's
Yeah.
not that easy to do.
No. Yeah. Yeah. And as great as, Tiger was, there was talk early in the career, will he ever beat Jack Nicklaus, and his major totals? Do you think Tiger thinks about that at all?
I'm sure that if he were to be honest, there's times of reflection when he thinks back to when he might have been able to do that.
Yeah.
Like some of the missed opportunities.
Mm,
How much did the marital scandal set him back?
yeah.
How much did the back problem set him back? I said 18 majors in the last 10 years, but he missed 2 majors in 2008. He also missed 2 majors in 2011. He was at the prime of his career then,
Yeah.
and 4 majors that he didn't get a chance at. Like, who knows? Like, if there's the great thing about Jack was he never missed a major. Jack played in every single major championship from 1962 through the US Open of 1998. I mean, think about
Wow.
that. I mean, even into his 50s, he played.
Yeah.
From the time he was basically 22 until he was 58, he played every single major. He never missed one. And obviously, during the prime of his career, he didn't miss any,
Yeah.
whereas Tiger did.
Yeah,
and then there is a great what if factor there.
sure, absolutely. Um, what do you think his legacy in golf as well as outside golf, whether it's in the greater sports world or just, society in general, what's his lasting legacy, you feel?
I think it's probably going to be viewed as one of sports great champions,
Mm.
just a prolific winner. Now, it's my take on his legacy is that it was more than just that, is what got him to that, the drive,
Ah, yeah,
that was a big part of his legacy. That if you go back and look at his career, it was this unwavering commitment. But I think you can argue too that his legacy is complicated. He for a good 10, 12 years, he was on top of a mountain. Nobody took any shots at him. He was almost perfect. And then we saw the fall from grace.
yeah,
And it took him a while to recover from that. I think there was a personal toll
mm,
that it took. And there was frankly, there was a humiliation factor. And then when he emerged from that and got better again, he started going through the injuries and the
yeah,
pain and dealing with all that. And so, there's been a lot of complications in his career, and I think that's all a big part of the story as well.
yeah. Is there anything that you take away from watching Tiger play all these years and following him and writing about him? Is there anything that you personally take away and say, you know what, I'm going to try to apply a little bit of that
Yeah.
in my life? Whether it is on the fifth day saying, no, I'm going to go work out again.
I think there is some of that. I think
Yeah,
that's part of it, like don't give yourself the out. We human nature, we allow ourselves to, yeah, I've had a busy week. We rationalize, right? I've
yeah,
had a busy week. Here it's Friday night. I'm not going to go to the gym tonight, or I'm not. Let's say it was in terms of writing a book.
yeah,
Like when I was working on these books, I tried to have goals every day. You can't go too long without you can't keep putting things off, right? So let's say I had a goal to write 500 words a day every day. Well, let's say I wrote 2,000 words Monday through Thursday, so I'm on pace. I'm in good shape. I'm gonna skip tomorrow. Nope, don't do that.
yeah,
Keep going. Like, to relate it to my world, like that's a good example. Like, don't allow yourself to 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 compromise, because I don't think he ever did.
yeah. I think there's so much that people can learn just from that drive. What a perfect name. It's
Yeah.
not just a golf term. It's literally a way of life. It's like it's your approach.
Hmm.
Another golf term, but it's your approach, isn't it?
Right.
To life and whatever it is that you do. Uh, Bob, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for writing these books, especially this one. The book is Drive, The Lasting Legacy of Tiger Woods. Go pick it up at your favorite local bookstore or go on Amazon and pick it up. And of course, if you want to read about the rivalry, Tiger and Phil, golf's most fascinating rivalry, another fun book to read. Just read about two warriors,
Yep.
in their prime. Bob Harig, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you having me. Thanks so much.